We've looked at the settings for the Remote Desktop Connection app in this course already, but in this video we'll configure the settings from a different point of view. Here, we want to pre-configure the client for a specific end user. The intent is to set up the connection for maximum ease and best performance, so all the user has to do is connect. Open the Remote Desktop Client and then click Show Options. Then click the General tab. One thing to consider here is to input the credentials the user needs to type in to connect to the remote resource. What you input and save will appear when the user opens the app. You can type the computer name and the username. You can also save the settings. The Display tab is already configured with default settings, but it might be best to move the slider down a notch so that the novice can distinguish easily between their local screen and the remote one, and resize it. Let me connect to show you what it looks like when an end user can see both their own desktop and the remote one. And here we are. What you see in blue is my desktop, and what you see in green is the remote one. If you know the user is connecting with an older monitor, consider lowering the color depth options as well. Here's where those settings are. From local resources, you can configure how you want to include or not include the client computer's connected devices. By default, the key combinations that are applied to these connected devices are set to only when using the full screen. That's because Windows assumes if you're not in full screen mode, the key combinations you use should be applied to the local machine. You can, however, set it so all key combinations are applied either to the local or the remote computer, no matter the mode. If you're not sure what the user prefers, you can ask. From the Experience tab, you can choose a connection type that the end user will be using. We looked at this earlier, but if you're working with an enterprise user who's going to be working over the internet and may not have a great connection, you can change it to something slower. You can also allow the following or disallow the following. One of these is desktop background. We also have menu and window animation and font smoothing. You can select or deselect these as desired. Finally, here at the bottom is the option to reconnect if the connection is lost. This is a good one to keep checked for your enterprise user. The last tab, the Advanced tab, lets you configure what happens if server authentication fails and offers a place to configure gateway settings. You'll need to ask your end user if they know anything about the network they're connecting with, and if they know their gateway to configure this. Let's return to the General tab. If you've made changes, you can click Save. You can also click Save As. You can always return here later if you change your mind. Once you have saved some connection settings, you'll use this button to open them. Are you ready to finally make a connection to a remote computer? Let's double check that everything's ready first. If you can, follow along on your own PC. First, make sure the remote computer is turned on, and if you're on a local network, verify you can see that computer in File Explorer under Network. The computer I want to connect to here on my local network is a laptop. I can see there are others as well. You can connect to a remote computer with the computer name or IP address. You can find the computer name from File Explorer. Here, I'll right-click this PC and click Properties. The name of this particular PC is Work PC. If I performed this on my laptop, the device name would show Laptop. Sometimes connecting with a computer name doesn't work though. In this case, you'll need the IP address. Here's how to find the IP address of any computer using a command line. You open up a command prompt and you type ipconfig. Then you press Enter. From here, look for the IPv4 address. The IPv4 address of this particular computer is 192.168.1.82. If you're connecting to a remote computer in your office managed by your organization, make sure you have a VPN configured. Here's where you can find that VPN, from the taskbar and at the top. And finally, if you're trying to connect to your home computer from the internet, make sure your router is configured properly and is ready to let that connection attempt pass. We configured those settings in a previous movie. When you're ready, in the Remote Desktop Connection app, enter the name of the remote computer. You can see I've already entered my username here and saved it, but yours will be blank. You can check Always Ask for Credentials if you like, but I leave mine unchecked. And in previous movies, we talked about the options under these additional tabs: Display, Local Resources, Experienced, and Advanced. Now we're ready to connect. So let's click the Connect button and see what happens. Here's my remote desktop connection. You will probably be required to type in a password, and that's fine. Go ahead and do that. I'll disconnect by clicking the X here. Notice it says my session will be disconnected. If you have other computers on your network, you can go ahead and try to connect to them as well. Here, I don't have a username, so I'll type one. And I'll click Connect and see what happens here. You can see the option to enter my credentials. This is probably what you'll see the first time you connect. And then you can click Remember Me when you do. Take some time now and experiment with the computers on your network. Make sure the computers you want to connect to have remote access enabled. After you've had some time to play around, close all the windows and continue to the next movie. When you're using Remote Desktop on a laptop, you can improve your experience using the Mobility Center. It's built into Windows Editions installed on laptops. You can open it by searching for it. Here it is, Windows Mobility Center. As you can see, I already have it open. Most of the features are self-explanatory. You can move the sliders to change the brightness and the volume easily, and you can mute sounds. You can also choose from all of the available power plans using the drop-down list. Balanced is often the default. However, if you're on battery power, it might be best to use the Power Saver plan. This plan will attempt to lower the CPU speed, lower the brightness levels, and keep unnecessary services to a minimum. This will help your computer run longer between charges. If the computer is plugged in, you might choose High Performance. High Performance will automatically brighten the screen and keep hardware from going into power saving modes, among other things. You can connect an external display too. If you see the word Disconnect here, you're already connected to a second monitor. If you see Connect, a display might be available you can connect to. Let's click to see. Here are my options to project: PC screen only, duplicate, extend, and second screen only. And notice there are more display settings. Let's open Mobility Center again. Creating sync partnerships is an advanced option. But briefly, you use this to create sync partnerships between the device you're using and any other device you can connect to. You can access these by clicking Sync Settings. You might already sync data with cloud solutions like OneDrive or Google Drive, but this is a Windows option. And finally, there's Presentation Settings. Turn on Presentation Settings if you don't want to be disturbed with system notifications. These notifications can be almost anything from available updates to virus scans or even social network updates. This option will also keep your computer from going to sleep. And this is an excellent setting to enable during a remote desktop session because often when a computer goes to sleep, open sessions are cut off. If you like the Mobility Center, you don't have to turn it off after you finish this video. Feel free to leave it on all the time if you like.